In the early 1700s, the Atlantic coastline of North America was home to the 13 colonies under British rule. This meant that the King of England was in charge, and the colonies were expected to follow his laws, pay taxes, and remain loyal to the British Crown. These settlements stretched from New England in the north to Georgia in the south. Over time, the colonies became divided into three major regions: New England, the Middle Colonies, and the Southern Colonies. Each region developed its own identity and way of life because of the different geography, climate, and cultural traditions that existed in each area. Massachusetts, Connecticut, Rhode Island, and New Hampshire made up the New England colonies. The region was known for rocky soil, dense forests, and long, harsh winters. Farming was difficult, so colonists turned to other ways of making a living. Fishing, shipbuilding, and trade became the lifeblood for this region's economy. New England's harbors were among the busiest ports in all the colonies. These harbors became major centers for transatlantic trade, including exports of lumber, fish, and rum, and imports of manufactured goods from England and the Caribbean. Religion played a powerful role in New England society. The region was strongly influenced by the Puritans, who had fled England to escape religious persecution. They hoped to build what they called a city upon a hill, a model Christian community that would set an example for others. Daily life centered around the church, and strict moral values guided behavior. Religion and government were closely connected, and many laws were based on Puritan beliefs about right and wrong. Education was highly valued in New England because the Puritans believed everyone should read the Bible. Laws required towns to establish schools, leading to the highest literacy rates in the colonies. Church leaders often held great influence in community decisions. At the same time, New Englanders valued public participation. Town meetings allowed colonists to gather, debate, and make local decisions, giving ordinary citizens a voice and planting early seeds of democracy. Moving south, the Middle Colonies, New York, New Jersey, Pennsylvania, and Delaware, were often called the breadbasket colonies. Fertile soil and a mild climate made farming easier than in New England. Farmers produced large harvests of wheat, barley, and oats, which fed local communities and were sold overseas. The region stood out for its diversity. People from many backgrounds, English, Dutch, German, Irish, Quaker, and Catholic, lived side by side, encouraging tolerance and religious freedom. Pennsylvania, founded by Quaker William Penn, became known as a place where people of many faiths could worship freely. Education was valued for practical use, especially in the trades, but it was not as strongly emphasized as in New England. With no single public school system, children learned in church schools, private classes, or at home. Many boys became apprentices, which were students who learned a trade by working for skilled craftsmen such as printers, carpenters, or blacksmiths. The economy of the Middle Colonies was one of the most balanced and prosperous in colonial America. Rich farmland made them major grain producers. Good rivers and waterways, and natural harbors supported trade and transportation. Philadelphia and New York grew into centers for buying and selling of goods. Skilled artisans and merchants thrived in these cities and helped create a strong economy. The Middle Colonies became known as a region of opportunity, skill, and progress. In the Southern Colonies, Maryland, Virginia, North Carolina, South Carolina, and Georgia developed in a very different way. The region's warm climate, long growing season, and fertile soil made it ideal for farming. Agriculture shaped nearly every part of life, and most colonists lived in rural areas. Large plantations developed across this region, producing valuable cash crops like tobacco, cotton, and indigo. Farmers also raised rice and corn in large amounts. While some of these goods were sold within the colonies, most were shipped overseas for profit. The plantation system brought great wealth to landowners, but it also created deep divisions within society. Plantations depended heavily on the forced labor of enslaved Africans. By the 1700s, slavery had become deeply rooted in the southern colonies. Wealthy planters controlled most of the land and political power, while enslaved workers and poor farmers had little or no influence. Unlike the busy ports and growing towns found in the middle colonies and New England, the South had fewer large cities. Because plantations were spread far apart, communities were smaller and more rural. Education was limited as well. Wealthy families often hired private tutors or sent their sons to schools in England, while most children received little or no formal schooling. As a result, literacy rates were lowest in the South. Even though life looked different in each of the three regions, the colonists shared many common beliefs and traditions. Most colonists valued hard work, independence, and community. They believed that success came from effort and cooperation. Religion also played an important role in daily life. It guided moral values and brought communities together. The colonies were also connected by language, government, and trade. Most colonists spoke English and followed English laws. They also believed in the idea of self-government, shown through local town meetings and colonial assemblies where citizens could voice their opinions. Over time, these shared beliefs and connections helped the 13 colonies begin to see themselves as part of one united group. The growing desire for freedom and self-rule strengthened this bond. These united feelings would eventually ignite the fight for independence and set the colonies on the path to creating a new nation.